Welcome to the Deconstructionist Deep Dive.
The podcast that doesn't just accept the story.
We break it
We examine the pieces.
and expose the machinery inside.
Let's dive in.
What if everything about modern wellness and meditation isn't just wrong?
But is designed to be wrong.
That's the question we're tackling today. It's
Yeah,
a pretty unsettling premise, isn't it?
It really is. And just to be clear, we're not here to argue about, the value of quiet time or introspection itself.
No, definitely not. Our focus is much sharper. We're dissecting a very specific, very popular, and honestly quite influential modern wellness ideology.
Exactly. We've been analyzing materials like protocols based on things like the 6-phase meditation method, and we've identified this underlying structure. We're calling them 12 conceptual nodes.
Right. These nodes form the foundation. And our target really isn't the spiritual aspect per se.
No, it's the ideology. It's the industrial complex that's sort of grown up around these practices. This is fundamentally a deep dive into power structures.
How are practices that maybe started as paths to liberation, how are they being repackaged?
Systematically transformed, yeah.
Hmm.
Through marketing, through this specific ideology, they become, surprisingly, tools for social control, which is, the opposite of freedom.
It's a detour straight into compliance dressed up as self-help.
Precisely.
So we've gathered the sources, critiques, analyses, philosophy, the whole deal. Our mission today is to equip you, the listener, with a kind of cognitive toolkit.
A weapon, almost.
Yeah, maybe a cognitive weapon. We're going to trace these 12 nodes ruthlessly, show the contradictions.
Show how the system protects itself from criticism.
And critically, who actually benefits when you buy into this?
And the stakes are high here. This goes way beyond just, feeling a bit less stressed after a meditation session.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about how core human virtues, real compassion, intention, our hopes and dreams are being twisted.
Co-opted.
Exactly. Co-opted into these protocols. Designed for what? Personal optimization. For making you a smoother cog in the corporate machine.
Frictionless integration. That's the goal. Okay, let's dive into section 1, the core framework. This is where they repackage spirituality as essentially a utilitarian life hack.
Yeah, and it starts with node 1. This is the big one, the foundational shift.
Meditation as a transactional tool for problem solving.
In that redefinition, that's the key move.
Real.
It cuts it off from thousands of years of tradition, doesn't it?
Completely. Think about traditional practices. Meditation was about non-attachment, right? Cultivating awareness.
Yeah.
Seeing the ego for what it is.
Seeing reality clearly. Even the uncomfortable bits. Especially the uncomfortable bits, maybe.
But this new ideology, it just waves that away. Meditation becomes this aggressive tool.
Utilitarian, like you said.
It's input-output. I put in my 15 minutes of, quote, structured thought.
And I expect something back, a result.
A quantifiable material result. Better health metrics, less stress, maybe that new client connection. The whole inner journey gets reduced to a goal sheet.
Stripped of its depth, really.
And they even have this analogy, right, to categorize different meditation types.
Oh, yeah, the toolbox analogy. It's quite revealing. It's not about a path of deepening insight anymore.
Nope. It's about which tool you pick for the job.
So you've got your coffee maker meditation.
Right, the daily grind, maintenance, keeps you ticking over.
Preventative care, basically.
Then you have the heavy machinery, the electric drill.
That's for the big jobs, the tactical stuff.
Like manifesting a promotion or fixing a relationship problem or, crushing that pre-meeting anxiety. You deploy the drill.
It creates this very mechanical relationship with your own mind, doesn't it? Your inner life is just maintenance and awareness. Only good if it helps you hit an external target.
So how does this goal-obsessed view stack up against, say, traditional contemplative practices?
Well, it's a total clash. A philosophical collision, really.
Take Zen's shikantaza. What does that mean? Just sitting.
Or Vipassana, seeing things as they truly are. The emphasis is on non-attachment to results.
The second you sit down thinking this meditation is going to get me that raise, you've kind of missed the point, traditionally speaking.
But this modern framework demands that exact intention, that aggression, almost. And if you don't get the raise.
Well, then the system says you failed. You picked the wrong tool, maybe.
Or you just didn't intend hard enough, didn't want it badly enough.
The blame is always internalized. Success is external, but failure. That's on you.
Which perfectly sets up the next piece, the engine of compliance, really, node 4. The tyranny of positivity.
Yeah, this is where it gets intense. The sources show this clear dismissal of just normal human emotions. Happiness as a goal, Too wishy-washy.
Right. They replace it with something much more demanding, something measurable.
Blisscipline.
Blisscipline. I mean, the word itself tells you everything, doesn't it? Bliss, like spiritual joy.
Bolted onto discipline, like corporate performance.
It's this mandatory, forced cultivation of positive feelings. High vibration emotions only, please.
It's a performance standard you owe. To yourself, sure, but also implicitly to your job, to society. You can't just be calm. You have to be proactively optimized. Demonstrably so.
And it's not fuzzy. It has to be tracked, quantified.
Through the PQ, the positivity quotient.
Your emotional audit score. Are you meeting the benchmark for inner calm, productivity, resilience? Check your dashboard.
And if your PQ dips, if you fall below that line...
Then you have to engage in emotional alchemy. That's the term they use.
Sounds fancy. What does it actually mean?
It's this very specific, prescribed process. You take those messy, low-vibration feelings, sadness, boredom, frustration.
The stuff that makes us human.
Pretty much. And you have to channel them, convert them into something productive. Specifically, they define productive outputs as love, connection, or purposeful action.
Okay, give me an example. Let's say someone feels genuinely melancholy. Maybe they're overworked, feeling isolated. What does the alchemy demand?
Okay, so instead of letting that melancholy signal maybe a real problem, like, terrible work-life balance or a toxic environment.
Right, a need for external change.
Exactly. Instead, the ideology says treat that feeling as raw fuel, untapped potential. You're supposed to acknowledge it briefly, then immediately pivot.
Pivot how?
Something like, okay, I feel sad and lonely. I will now channel this energy into proactively reaching out to 5 contacts and expressing gratitude.
Wow. So the sadness gets instantly repurposed into networking.
Into a useful output, yeah.
Which...
It stops you from actually sitting with the feeling and asking the important question, why do I feel this way? What needs to change in my circumstances?
And the really insidious part, I think, is how it deals with things like guilt and shame.
Oh, absolutely. Those are immediately red flag. Low vibration obstacles, get rid of them now.
Usually through some kind of quick forgiveness protocol.
Right. But hold on. Guilt, shame. In a healthy person, those are signals, aren't they? They're part of having a conscience. They tell us when we've messed up, crossed a line,
violated a value, or hurt someone.
Exactly. But if the system demands you just erase them with a quick protocol, often just a mental exercise you do on your own,
like hitting delete on your conscience.
It makes the individual frictionless, doesn't it?
Ah.
Morally weightless, perfectly optimized for chasing their own goals without that drag of ethical thinking.
The ideal employee never feels bad, always achieves. Which brings us to the assumptions baked into this, particularly around privilege. Nodes 9 and 10, the big one. Life design precedes career design.
Ah, yes. The ultimate aspirational fantasy.
So the idea is, first you sit down and architect your perfect life, your ideal schedule, your core values, your, luxury travel goal.
All the experiential metrics.
Yeah. And only after you've perfectly designed this abstract utopia, then your ideal career will just materialize.
Yeah. Like magic, it becomes just a vehicle to transport you through your pre-designed awesome life.
Okay, but let's apply the scalpel here. This whole concept reeks of privilege, doesn't it?
Right.
It completely ignores the material reality for so many people. It ignores the precariat.
That's such a key term here, the precariat. We need to be clear what we mean.
We're talking about people in insecure work, right? Gig economy, part-time, no benefits, maybe juggling multiple jobs just to survive.
People whose daily reality is dominated by economic necessity, not abstract life design.
Exactly. If you're working 3 jobs to make rent and buy groceries, the idea that you should first pause everything to design your ideal quality of life, independent of that reality, it's not just impractical, it's insulting.
It's completely out of touch. For most people, their career isn't some vehicle they choose after designing the life. The career is the precarious foundation they're trying to build any life on.
So this ideology just implicitly writes off anyone who isn't already in a position of significant economic comfort and security.
Or worse, it subtly blames them. If you have to prioritize survival over life design, well, maybe you just lack the right intention or you haven't found your highway yet. It creates this narrative barrier.
And Node 10 doubles down on this by redefining what success even looks like.
Right. It's not about stability anymore or contributing to your community or even just mastering a craft.
No, success is measured by these very specific high-status experiential things. Luxury travel is a big one.
Having the right kind of inspiring friends. Getting invited to speak at conferences.
Building a legacy. And they explicitly compare this legacy building to what great spiritual sages did.
It's not about inner peace, is it? It's about building a high-visibility personal brand. It's becoming an Instagram-ready guru yourself, leveraging your inner life for external validation and often profit.
Okay, so that's the basic structure. Highly utilitarian, demands constant positivity, assumes privilege, and defines success in very materialistic, high-status ways. Let's move to section 2, the vulnerabilities. Where does this start to fall apart under pressure? Priority target 1, the co-option of compassion.
This feels particularly problematic, morally compromised, I think. It takes something fundamentally selfless and twists it.
The sources are really clear on this. The ideology explicitly states, compassion is primarily a self-serving act.
You do it mainly to optimize your own internal state, your physiology, your brain chemistry, boost that PQ score, improve your own effectiveness.
And the benefit to the other person, the actual recipient of the compassion.
That's dismissed as a mere side effect, almost incidental.
That's where the structural weakness just glares, isn't it? If my real motive for being kind is to make myself feel better or perform better,
It becomes transactional compassion. It risks creating this performative empathy. Am I focused on the other person's needs, or am I focused on how good I feel for having been compassionate?
it's like that old idea of enlightened self-interest from economics, but applied to your soul. I do something good because it ultimately benefits me.
Exactly. And that's the philosophical collision we have to highlight. Think about traditional concepts. Judeo-Christian, agape, unconditional, self-sacrificing love. It doesn't ask for a return.
Or Buddhist karuna, that non-dual compassion. It dissolves the whole self-other separation. The idea of a personal ROI on compassion is just alien to those traditions.
But this modern framework turns compassion into an asset you cultivate for personal gain.
Yeah.
Be compassionate, not because the world needs it, but because it's good for your metrics, your neurological bottom line.
It demands a return on investment, which poisons the well of genuine selfless giving.
Okay, so if the whole system is geared towards personal outcomes, towards manifestation, what happens when those outcomes don't show up? How does the system defend itself?
Ah, that leads us straight to priority target 2. The insulating doctrine of the destiny trap. This is the system's escape hatch, its built-in defense mechanism against failure.
The manifestation shell game, right? They lay out this model.
Yeah, the 3-part manifestation model.
Oh.
Part 1, your personal intention, your focused desire. You got to want it.
Part 2, predetermined destiny. This is the big one, the soul's highway. Your path is already set, apparently.
And part 3, external energy. Things like, I don't know, feng shui, group consciousness, whatever. Environmental factors.
So you got this weird mix. On one hand, intense personal responsibility, you need powerful intention. On the other hand, cosmic fatalism, there's a preset destiny. How do people even hold those two ideas together?
That tension is the trap. That's the fatal flaw we need to dissect. The destiny part is the out. It's how the system rationalizes failure without ever blaming itself.
So if you do everything right, follow the protocols, keep your Blisscipline score high, visualize like crazy, and you still don't get the promotion.
It's not the protocol's fault.
Yes.
Obviously not. It's because you weren't aligned with your highway. Your destiny lay elsewhere.
So the system demands maximum effort from you.
While simultaneously holding this trump card, this preordained fate, that can invalidate all that effort after the fact.
It's a classic internal contradiction, and it makes the whole ideology impossible to disprove, doesn't it? Failure just proves you were misaligned.
It's completely immunized from falsification. Failure becomes proof the system works, just not for that goal for you right now.
And they have another layer for this, don't they? For explaining away unmet desires. Node 8.
Right, the doctrine of mature versus immature wanting.
So any desire that doesn't pan out, any goal you don't achieve.
Easy. It
Yeah.
can be retroactively labeled immature. It was just your ego talking, not
Yeah.
aligned with your higher self or your true destiny.
The old no true Scotsman fallacy.
Exactly. If the desire is fulfilled, well, clearly it was a mature wanting, aligned with your highway. If it fails, must have been immature. You just didn't want the right thing.
The goalposts just shift based on the outcome.
Which means the guru is never wrong. The protocol is never flawed. The theory holds. It's always the follower whose desire was impure, or whose intention wasn't quite right, or who hasn't found the true highway yet.
Keeping them perpetually in the position of needing more guidance, more refinement.
More courses, more coaching, more consumption. Trapped as a student, never a master.
Let's dig into that destiny highway concept a bit more. Priority target 3, you mentioned it has historical echoes.
Yes, absolutely. When I hear Destiny Highway, my mind immediately goes to historical control mechanisms. Specifically, it reminds me so much of Calvinist predestination.
Okay, unpack that connection.
Well, in classic Calvinism, the belief was that God had already chosen who was saved, the elect, and who wasn't. You couldn't change it. So how did people cope with that uncertainty?
They look for signs, right?
Exactly. Worldly success, accumulating wealth, living virtuously, having a stable family became interpreted as outward signs that you might be one of the elect, proof you were aligned with God's preordained plan.
Okay, I see the parallel. So in this modern wellness version, achieving wealth, success, that high-status lifestyle.
It becomes the sign that you found your destiny highway, you're aligned with the universe's plan for you. The successfuls are successful because the universe intended them to be.
Which is incredibly comforting if you are successful.
And incredibly shaming if you're not. It implies your struggle, your poverty, your lack of manifestation is a personal failing. You just haven't found your path. It neatly erases any systemic factors like inequality or lack of opportunity.
But philosophically, this whole idea of a preset path waiting to be found, it's shaky ground, isn't it?
It completely crumbles under existentialist critique. Think Sartre.
Existence precedes essence.
Exactly. We aren't born with a blueprint, a pre-written destiny, a highway map tucked in our soul. We are born. We exist. Then, through our choices, our actions, our commitments.
We create our essence. We create our meaning, our path.
The Destiny Highway ideology tells you to be a passive searcher, looking for the map someone else drew. Existentialism says, pick up the pen, draw your own damn map, and own the responsibility that comes with that freedom.
This wellness ideology sells comfort disguised as cosmic truth, but it actually encourages passivity and compliance.
Okay, let's widen the lens in Section 3. Place this ideology in its context.
Yeah.
That very first node, meditation as a tool. Where does that mindset come from?
It's pure Silicon Valley solutionism, isn't it?
Textbook case. Explain solutionism.
It's that pervasive belief, especially in tech culture, that basically every human problem, emotional distress, spiritual seeking, social injustice, you name it,
Can be broken down into a technical problem, a glitch in the system.
right, and therefore it requires a technical fix. An optimized protocol, a hack, an algorithm, a structured method, something you can probably deliver via an app.
The moment you call meditation a tool or a protocol, you've framed it in engineering terms. It demands predictable results based on input. If it fails, tweak the input, run the A/B test again.
It's the logic of software development applied to the soul. It's completely different from, say, contemplation.
How does this hyperstructured, goal-driven approach look compared to, say, ancient Eastern philosophies, like Taoism?
Oh, it's the polar opposite. Think about Wu Wei.
Effortless action, non-striving.
Acting in harmony with the flow, not forcing it. Explicitly rejecting that kind of aggressive, ego-driven goal setting.
So this modern wellness framework fueled by solutionism is basically hyper-striving, pretending to be serenity.
It demands 15 minutes of tactical quiet time so you can be a more effective, more productive player in the capitalist game for the other 23 hours and 45 minutes.
That intense focus on internal optimization, the Blisscipline, the mature, wanting, how does that connect to broader ideas about social control? Let's bring in Foucault.
Foucault's technologies of the self is the perfect concept here. He argued that power isn't just external force, like laws or police.
It operates internally, too, through the ways we manage and shape ourselves.
Exactly. The techniques individuals use to monitor, judge, and discipline themselves to fit into expected societal norms.
And this wellness ideology provides a whole toolkit for that, doesn't it? The protocols, the PQ tracking, the emotional alchemy.
They become these internalized technologies of self-surveillance. You're constantly checking your own vibration, managing your positivity quotient.
You become your own prison guard in the panopticon, basically.
You really do. If you feel that unproductive sadness or that inconvenient guilt,
You deploy the protocol. You fix yourself before your negative state can disrupt anything, your productivity, your team's morale.
you're not resisting oppression. You're doing the system's work for it, ensuring you remain a smooth, efficient unit of labor.
And this self-management connects to critical theories about work in modern capitalism, right? Talk about Byung-Chul Han.
Han's work is crucial here. He talks about the shift from an old-school disciplinary society, think factories, prisons, to a modern achievement society.
Where the pressure isn't coming from the outside foreman anymore.
No, the pressure is internal. We've moved to what he calls auto-exploitation, self-exploitation.
The individual drives themselves relentlessly. We internalize the demand for constant optimization, peak performance.
We turn the whip on ourselves. And it leads to the state of self-enslavement, which is much harder to fight because the oppressor seems to be us. It feels like a personal choice, a quest for self-improvement.
So Blisscipline isn't a path to freedom at all. It's a highly sophisticated tool for ensuring constant, high-output productivity. You manage your emotions like a portfolio manager manages assets, maximize gains, minimize losses.
Zero tolerance for inefficiency, even emotional inefficiency.
Like Stoicism got hijacked.
Exactly. It becomes this kind of stoicism for the privileged. All the emphasis on emotional equilibrium, but stripped of the actual philosophical quest for wisdom or virtue.
And repurposed purely for what? Peak performance in the marketplace. Your inner calm is just another tool to boost the bottom line.
Which brings us to the heart of the deception in Section 4. The power dynamics, and this idea of liberation becoming a private commodity.
Let's start with the commodification of compassion again. But look at the power structure. Who benefits?
Well, the wellness industrial complex, obviously. This massive industry, the gurus, the apps, the courses, the retreats, they all profit from selling you these tools for peace and purpose.
Billions of dollars.
And think about what that commodification does to actual human connection. If compassion is just another transaction for self-improvement,
Then genuine non-transactional relating becomes almost impossible within that framework. I'm not seeing you. I'm seeing an opportunity to boost my PQ.
you become a variable in my self-help equation. It poisons authentic connection.
And it sets up a clear hierarchy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of spiritual caste system.
Absolutely. At the top, you have the guru, the originator of the system. They've supposedly mastered it all. They embody mature wanting. They live on the destiny highway. They perform enlightenment flawlessly.
Wow, the follower.
The follower is always the consumer, always wrestling with those immature desires, those low vibration obstacles, perpetually needing the next fix, the next course, the next upgrade, the next coaching package.
Cramped by that no true Scotsman logic we talked about.
Yep.
They can never quite reach the guru's level because the definition of success is always just out of reach,
Yeah.
controlled by the system itself. Mastery is always for sale, never quite attained.
It's a perfect consumer loop.
In this model, this perpetual consumption, that's the neoliberal logic applied right to the soul, isn't it? Which leads to the deepest deception, the privatization of liberation.
This is maybe the most critical point. Neoliberal ideology excels at taking big structural collective problems.
And reframing them as individual issues, personal failings, matters of choice.
Right. So apply that here. Are you feeling crushed by burnout? Is it because of precarious work, stagnant wages, insane hours?
Nope. According to this ideology, the problem isn't the system, the problem is you. You're like a Blisscipline.
You haven't meditated correctly, you didn't intend hard enough, you're off your destiny highway.
It takes the focus entirely off the external structures that create the stress and puts it all back on the individual's internal state.
And by doing that, by privatizing liberation, making it solely an inside job, it kills collective action. It invalidates systemic critique.
Why organize? Why demand change? If the problem is just my personal vibration, then the solution is just more meditation, more self-optimization.
It functions as the ultimate pacifier. It absorbs discontent and reinterprets it as personal misalignment, ensuring the status quo remains unchallenged.
And that ties into the final point about the tyranny of positive emotion. Its political function. Demanding constant Blisscipline isn't just stressful, it's politically neutering.
It's like an emotional lobotomy for the masses, really.
Because the system requires emotional quietude. It pathologizes the very emotions we need to recognize and fight injustice.
Forgive, transcend, channel it into love. Never confront, never resist.
But think about it. Righteous anger, indignation. That's what fuels social change movements. Profound sadness about suffering.
Yeah.
That drives genuine compassion and solidarity.
These are necessary catalysts for political awareness and action.
But if the ideology tells you those feelings are low-vibration obstacles to be eliminated or alchemized into something personally productive,
Then you neutralize the emotional engine for critique and rebellion. The corporate state gets exactly what it wants. A docile, self-policing workforce focused entirely on inner optimization, never on challenging the external structures.
they sell you inner peace, but the product delivered is quiet compliance.
Okay, let's pull this all together in Section 5, the synthesis. What's the ultimate deception we've unveiled here?
I think it's the successful conflation, the deliberate blurring of two totally different things,
Personal optimization becoming a more efficient, less disruptive employee.
and genuine spiritual enlightenment, achieving deep, authentic freedom and awareness.
They package the first one and label it as the second. They promise transcendence but deliver optimized compliance.
They sell you peak productivity and call it inner peace.
And the false promise underlying it all is that liberation is something you can buy, a protocol, a method, an app, and that the only acceptable outcome of inner work is to become a more peaceful, effective participant within the current system.
It's designed to maintain comfort and control, never to facilitate actual radical freedom.
So the liberatory imperative, the way out, has to start with rejecting that co-option.
We have to embrace the parts of ourselves that aren't optimized, the messy bits, the unproductive feelings.
Yes. True liberation means engaging with those difficult emotions, the anger, the sadness, the frustration, not as problems to be eliminated, but as valuable data. What are they telling us about the world, about the systems we live in?
Growth isn't about achieving perfect Blisscipline. It's about understanding reality, including the uncomfortable parts, and finding the courage to act on that understanding.
So this analysis, this deconstruction we've done, it's meant to be that cognitive weapon we mentioned.
It's not just intellectual. The goal is to internalize it, to use the anger you might feel at this manipulation.
Not to turn it inwards for more self-optimization, but to turn it outwards. Use that energy to question the system, to challenge the structures, to break the mental locks.
Instead of just trying to find a more comfortable cell within the prison, use the rage to start dismantling the walls.
Refuse to pay for your own shackles. That's the first step.
And that's our deep dive for this week.
Remember, the most dangerous illusion is the one you don't know you're in.
But now you know. So here's our question for you. Where in your own life have you accepted a version of reality because it was easier than asking the hard questions?
Let us know in the comments.
Question the narrative.
Deconstruct the dogma.
See the system.
We'll see you next time. Stay skeptical.